Or next to the local elections and the shock result that had the Labour leader hot-footing it to North Yorkshire to celebrate.
Labour's David Scaife won the new York and North Yorkshire mayoral election right in Rishi Sunak's backyard. It'll be a bitter pill to swallow for the Tories, but for Sir Keir Starmer, it's a victory that sparked yet more calls to return to the ballot box for a general election.
Our political correspondent Sharon Carer reports.
A bolt from the blue, planting a red brick in North Yorkshire.
And Keir Starmer is here in the Prime Minister's constituency with the first ever mayor for York and North Yorkshire, a Labour mayor for York and North Yorkshire, David Scaife.
Labour were the underdogs in this race. For Sir Keir Starmer, that was a cause for celebration.
But this is a very, very special moment, David, to become the mayor here. And thank you to the team for all the fantastic work that they have done.
This is a Tory stronghold, a contest they wanted to win and, according to previous results, should have won. For the Tory candidate then, a painful defeat.
Today has not been my day, but I do feel proud of the campaign that I've been able to run. It's been toughly fought, it's been gruelling. I'm just so proud of the fact that I was able to get out there to every single community across our county.
The significance of a Labour win in this traditional Tory territory wasn't lost on Labour's newly elected mayor.
North Yorkshire hasn't always been the happiest of hunting grounds for us, but I think we're seeing real change there. We had Keir won the by-election in Selby not that long ago, and we have huge potential. What we've been hearing from the doorsteps, literally 1,000 people a day we've been talking to, they want to see real change. They see it with Labour, they see it under Keir's leadership, and I think this result really shows and highlights that.
The new York and North Yorkshire Combined Authority takes in the Prime Minister's own constituency. At an army base in North Yorkshire today, he kept his head below the parapet, timing his visit before the declaration and avoiding any mention of the contest.
Obviously, it's disappointing to lose good, hard-working Conservative councillors, and I'm grateful to them for all their service in local government, keeping council tax low and delivering services for local people. But we've still got lots of results to come as well.
But those results aren't what the Conservatives had hoped for, putting pressure on Rishi Sunak from within his own ranks.
I mean, I've been saying for 6 months that he should step down, but it's not down to one person, is it? I've been trying to urge my colleagues for 6 months and they haven't moved.
Do you blame Rishi Sunak's unpopularity for what's happened here?
I mean, Rishi's supported my campaign, he's helped me out on the campaign trail. It's tough, it's difficult for the Conservative Party right now, but I hopefully feel confident that
Keane Duncan may have been lost for words, but if more Tory MPs choose to speak up against the Prime Minister, this North Yorkshire result could have ripples across the country.
An historic day, some would say. Sharon Preet is with us. This doesn't look good for the Prime Minister, though, does it, Sharon Preet?
No, it doesn't, Ian. I mean, a few years ago, I think this result would have been unheard of in North Yorkshire. You'll have heard of Yorkshire's red wall. Well, if Yorkshire had a blue wall, it would have been in North Yorkshire. We saw that start to change in 2023 with the Selby by-election result. That was a real coup for Labour. Today's result sends a signal that Labour might be on course not just to rebuild the red wall, but extend it even further.
Seems astonishing, doesn't it? Now then, we won't get the results for the South and West Yorkshire mayoral. We won't get those results, until tomorrow. But what about the East Midlands? Will we get those?
Well, we've had another Tory defeat. More predictable there. You know, the Tories were expected to lose, but the scale wasn't predictable. They lost by 50,000 votes. Now, Ben Bradley was the Tory candidate there. He's the MP for Mansfield. So to lose with that margin as a sitting MP must really, really sting. Now, the question is, what happens next? Tory MPs will be looking at these local results and thinking, we don't want a kicking like this when it comes to the general election. That puts Rishi Sunak in an extremely precarious position.
OK, for the moment, thank you, Sharon Preet.
Well, let's take a look now in detail at the results from right across our region and what it could mean as we approach a general election.
Well, we've brought our political correspondent, Sharon Carer, who's had a very busy day, back into the studio for some more analysis and going through the numbers. Well, here's our man, James Webster.
James, let's come to you first. And not all the councils took part in the elections, did they?
No, not this time around. So there was no voting in North Yorkshire or North Lincolnshire, but 8 of our councils were actually electing new members. Now, not all the seats in those areas were being contested. A total of 233 wards were voting. So that's a little under half the seats on those councils. There was that Humberside Police and Crime Commissioner election that we've just been hearing about as well, and elections for those mayors in North West and South Yorkshire. But let's focus on the councils. The big change is Kirklees, Labour losing the majority there, so it's now under no overall control. But actually, if we look at the numbers, both the Conservatives and Labour lost seats. They were picked up by the Lib Dems, the Greens, interestingly, a lot of independents as well. So that's now how the whole council is looking in Kirklees, and you can see that the Labour members there now make up less than half of the total council there, hence why it's now under no overall control.
So, James, some changes certainly there. Just give us an overview of how the region's now looking politically.
Yeah, well, if we look at the local authorities that were voting in West and South Yorkshire, this is how it looked before. A lot of red on this map showing all the local authorities that were under Labour control. Just Sheffield there under no overall control, highlighted in grey. But if we look at how things are after what's changed today, well, Kirklees has now turned grey because it's under no overall control. But actually, the rest of the map looks pretty much as it did before.
Well, let's bring in Charanpreet now. What does all of that mean?
Well, the Labour Party could very well look at that map and think, well, there's still a fair bit of red, we're in a good position, but they will be disappointed by that shift that you can see in Kirklees. As you heard in Helen's piece, the conflict in Israel and Gaza and the Labour Party's response to that has certainly been a factor. It's not the only council nationally that Labour has lost because of the issue. We also heard how it impacted Sheffield. Now, Sheffield's another interesting one. The Liberal Democrats lost 2 seats to Labour there. It doesn't sound like much, but this is an area where the Liberal Democrats are desperate to fight Labour when it comes to the general election. No blue on the map, not a change there, but given the result with the North Yorkshire mayoralty, that is significant. All 3 major parties will now be poring over the details, thinking about their futures.
OK, stay there, we'll be back to you in a second. James, can you just give us an idea of the overall numbers now then?
Yeah, let's take a look at what was happening right across our region. So before this election, these were the seats that were being defended. So the Conservatives defending 47, Labour 122, the Liberal Democrats 24, the Greens 10 and a few others held by independents and some of the smaller parties. If we look at how the numbers look now, some of the results are still trickling in as we're going on air, but this is how it's looking as we've come on air. 30 seats for the Conservatives, 131 for Labour, 25 for the Liberal Democrats. Interestingly, 24 seats over there now held by some of the smaller parties as well. So there are some changes. And if we look at those changes, I think we can see how many are up and how many are down. The Conservatives down 17 here, Labour up 9. And there you can see some extra others at the far end of the graph there.
Yes, James, very, very striking, those bar charts. Again, Charanpreet, what exactly does that mean?
Well, the first thing I want to pick up on is the independents. Yes, they've lost out overall, but Kirklees will be significant, something for the Labour Party to look at. And that may be why their gains aren't quite as big as they might have hoped. Now, we do have significant Muslim communities in our region. An analysis of the local elections so far has shown that the Labour Party has performed most poorly in wards with those large Muslim populations. The broad trend is Tories down, Labour up, but that voter apathy is something that all politicians should be alarmed by.
OK, Charanpreet and James, thank you very much indeed.